Hey y'all, what's up? Happy Saturday. It has been a day, a fantastic day. It's been a fantastic day. And I'm also realizing that I could probably go for a nap. But I wanted to come on here and chat because part of my vision and mission for this community is to come on here and connect with you, communicate with you. As many of you have entered this group, you have noted things that you want to see in your life, that you desire. You have noted things that you want to overcome or that you're curious about learning. So when I see that one, thank you for sharing how you feel like this community can be supportive, what Michael and I can talk about. And two, I see it as an honor. I see it as an honor to be able to connect with you, to be able to serve you, to be able to come on here and talk about things like health and healing and emotions and guilt and sleep and digestion and all the things that run your life. And I wanted to share some moments, some topics that I feel like are very prevalent in my life right now and that I know are prevalent for you all because you reach out to me and you essentially give me the answers and you give me the content to talk about. So grab a chair. I got up at 4 a.m. this morning and I would say I'm kind of feeling it a little bit. I still feel really good, but when I woke up at 4 a.m., I was awake, and that's awesome. I don't normally wake up at 4 a.m., but I do believe in having a part of a morning routine that allows me to step into my day, that allows me to serve people at the highest capacity. So with that being said, grab your tea, grab your coffee, however you are tuning in with me, and let's chat about some of these things I've mentioned in this live video. So I got my iced coffee. It's black, the way I like it. And let's connect. Backstory of some of these topics when it comes to channeling pain for progress, talking about emotions, talking about ancestral healing and releasing guilt. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. And for the last, I would say for the last week, I have been dealing with a little bit of pain in my right side here. I know this is backwards, but I've been dealing with some pain on my right side and in my spine, actually. Yes, chiropractors deal with stuff too, right? We do the work too. And, mind you, I get regular care, I take care of myself, and I also know that pain is a sign to stop, listen, and pay attention inside now. For many of you who have listened to me teach, know that just because you have pain and symptoms doesn't mean that you're unhealthy. And when you do have pain and symptoms, it's a time to pay attention. And I've been getting the work that I do in my office, I've been getting that consistently now for almost 10 years. And, it makes a huge difference when it comes to doing and focusing on what I'm going to talk about to move through challenges and symptoms and actually merge with it and get the gifts and the wisdom and the lesson that is meant for you behind the symptom and behind the pain. So I wake up and my intuition says it's time to meditate. You are carrying someone else's stuff. That's without judgment, but you're carrying this pain is not yours, and it's time to merge with that and discover what that really is. And mind you, I'm not that type of person where I'm like, oh, toxic energy, and this pain is toxic, and I can't be around people. No. In fact, we need to be around people to actually learn how to be productive human beings in the world and learn how to be human beings that contribute to each other in our lives. So we need to learn how to work through adversity, and we need to learn how to work through pain and challenges. That doesn't mean you ignore it and you force yourself through it and you push through it, but how do you merge with it and get the lesson and the wisdom? So I like to give context for what I talk about. So I wake up, I have this pain, and my intuition is like, You need to meditate. You need to merge with this. It's time. It's time. Right now, it's time. And I have learned over the years to not suppress that intuition, but to actually lean into the intuition. And mind you all, I am a type A achiever. So sometimes slowing down for me is not my, it's not my forte. But I have learned that when I do slow down, I have massive breakthroughs. So I know I'm like leading us all up, but I want this to be a longer conversation. I want you to be with me in this because I know you all deal with this too. So I turn on a meditation that's all about integrating empathy and being an empath and also clearing patterns that may not be mine. So I'm doing this meditation and I'm placing my hands in the area of discomfort that I teach you all. It's a matter of integration. I place my hands and it's a half an hour meditation. And all of a sudden the meditation goes into a place of guilt and releasing guilt. And I listened to one of my mentors speak today, and this is what she said. You ready for this? When it comes to guilt, she said, guilt is the feeling we experience when we don't want others to punish us, so we carry the pain. We're fearful of letting someone else down and what they're going to say, so we don't say anything and we harbor it and we hold it inside. And when I was doing this meditation, and mind you, I heard this message later today, and the intuition that came through at 4 a.m. was about guilt. I felt this overwhelming sense of anger and guilt in my body, and it was right here. It was right in my side, right in my spine. And anger, if you know, will manifest on the liver. And the right side is more masculine, the left side is more feminine. So masculine meaning giving, pushing, doing, producing. Feminine meaning receiving, nurturing, caring, masculine figures in your life on the right side. Left side is more feminine figures. If you want to learn more about that, check out the book, Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die. Anyway, so I go into this meditation and I merge with that pain and I feel that guilt, and what comes through my mind, like as this tension is liberating and I'm moving and I'm breathing into it, what comes through in my cerebral cortex is remembering when I first learned about my grandpa coming to Germany and the context in which he came here. And Michael is actually someone I'm grateful for to share a lot of this story, because he did an interview with my grandpa and he discovered all of this. My grandpa opened up and shared his story, or a lot of his story. So I go to this place of like feeling like I owe my grandpa something. I feel guilty. We had a little bit of a falling out when I first opened my practice, and it was very painful. And now I feel like we've recovered from that, but there's still this dissonance that exists within our relationship. And I go to this place where I am seeing my grandpa fight with his stepdad, and in Germany when he's younger, and I'm seeing him fight, and I'm seeing him when he's in this state, in this country where there's the Holocaust is going on and World War II is about to start, and all this stuff is happening in the country that he was raised. And in this moment, when he was a teenager, when he was 18, he left his homeland, Germany. He left and came to America I should ask him this, but I would imagine the relationship he had with his stepdad was not ideal. And so he probably left out of fear and out of resentment and out of anger, and he wanted something different for his life. He wanted something different for his soon-to-be future family, which was my father, and then my father's an only child, and then my father had Michael and I. And if my grandpa wouldn't have had the courage to leave his family, which creates massive abandonment wounds, and I'm sure, again, anger and guilt and resentment and all the things that we feel as human beings. Like, do you see where I'm going here? So basically I'm having this experience in my body of like, no longer carrying this burden of guilt, but really stepping into acknowledging and honoring the courage and the bravery that he had to leave. Because if he wouldn't have done that, who knows where the hell I would be. I'd be in a different, reincarnated in a different space-time form, right? But I'm just having this experience this morning. Like, literally, this was all this morning, and I actually wanted to come on here earlier and talk with you all about this because, so anyway, I'll get to that point, my point of the story, but I get to this experience in my body where I start crying, and I start crying for, just releasing this guilt I've had with him, and how maybe in the beginning of starting my practice, I wasn't operating in a way that he would have wanted me to, but yet I don't think he knows, and maybe he does, that a lot of the gifts of financial energy he had gifted me over the years, I had put into savings. My grandpa just likes to give money, and I like to give money to people, but he had given Michael and I quite a bit of money over the years, and instead of spending it, I put it into savings. And I used a lot of that to create Inspire Life. And I'm very grateful, very privileged. I get that. But like, I had this moment where I went from feeling this guilt and this resentment and this anger in my body to like fully acknowledging the courage and the bravery that my grandpa had. And that even underneath his anger and underneath some of his surface level demeanor, there is a man of courage, there is a man of bravery, there is a man of love, and that he will do anything for his family. And he may be a little sassy German man, but he would do anything. And I just had this like really intense like epigenetic DNA downloading experience that, again, this is work that I've done over the years, and all of a sudden, like, all this pain and all this energy I had in my body was gone. It was gone. And I share this with you because I invite you, with whatever you're dealing with, whether it's pain, symptoms, resentment, guilt, however, like, if you're dealing with physical health challenges, mental health challenges, sometimes it's not a physical cause. In chiropractic, we talk about the causes of dysfunction and subluxation in the nervous system, which is a misalignment of that ideal healing energy in our spine and our nerve system. And sometimes the cause isn't, oh, I slipped and fell, or I slept wrong, right? Because I was going into this story of like, oh, I must be working out too hard, or I'm running too much. But that wasn't it. Because every time I tuned in and I asked my body that question, which is something I love to teach people and that I want to teach you now, every time I did that, I was like, no, it's deeper. And who knows what, maybe this thing I've been carrying around was my grandpa's, because I'm a quarter of his DNA, right? Epigenetics is wild, by the way. You've got to research this stuff. How DNA and genetic patterning will transfer through lineage, including the emotional patterns that we carry. So I'm on a tangent here, but to bring it back, I tuned in with my body and I was like, it's not the running, it's not the lifting. It was deeper. It was emotional. It was guilt. It was anger. And all different parts of our body will hold different emotions, and that's something I teach in the office. But I wanted to bring a little bit on here because I think many of you value that and you appreciate that. But my point with all this is, do not run away from the pain. Do not run away from the symptoms. My grandpa ran away from the pain, and that running away served, but for how long? How sustainable is that? Merge with it. We as human beings, I believe, can do better and become more efficient when we can learn how to be with pain and be with the wisdom behind the pain, the wisdom behind the challenges, and the wisdom behind adversity. And the more that we can learn how to merge with that and move through it and not avoid it, the more that we can actually start to deal with adversity and challenges in a more peaceful, integrated way in our life. Because let me tell you, and you all know this, the world right now has a lot of adversity. The world right now has a lot of challenge. Would you not agree? And at the same time, right behind that challenge, right behind that fear, or right behind that adversity, right behind it is opportunity. Right behind this energy that I connected with was freedom. There was this crying that came through and this breath that came through my body. It was like, like to breathe in that courage for him, to breathe in that bravery. It's right there. The symptom is not what you want to chase, but rather listen to it and find and merge what's behind it for you. Get to the cause underlying it. Your body is so brilliant. And I want to take this time to, again, speak to all of this. And I know it's kind of a story and kind of a tangent, but I hope it's landing. Let me know. And if you want me to talk more about this stuff, I'm happy to, because this is stuff that I love to process. But I want to also leave you with this, is that when it comes to guilt and when it comes to shame and when it comes to just healthcare in general, it is not my job and it is not your job to save or fix people. Now, I know some of you who maybe work with me or other chiropractors or other healing professionals are like, fix me, doctor, I'm broken. Really, our job is to help remind you that you were never broken in the first place, but you had this perception and this misalignment in your perception of your body-mind that you're broken. And symptoms can be a pathway to that reminder. So my job is to create a space in a container for people to discover the hero and the doctor within them. Because I'm not here to say that you're broken. I'm not here to label you. I'm here to remind you of the resourcefulness that exists within you. I create the space. I work with your body's innate intelligence to work on itself. Sometimes it needs a little bit more pushing in the beginning, a little bit more coaxing. But all of that is not because I have an intention of fixing you because you're broken, but rather to help remind you of your inner greatness. And the more that you do this work, the faster it is to process that stuff. The faster and more efficient you become at working through adversity and finding a solution and results on the other side. So what just happened this morning for me, normally I felt like in the past that would have harbored with my system for maybe a couple weeks. I moved through it in an hour, if that. Because my nervous system has the strategies that I've been able to learn from my practitioners over the years, because they teach my body how to be more efficient with itself, how to witness itself in a more efficient state. Not because I'm broken, but there's probably parts of me that forgot my wholeness. So they're there to remind me. An adjustment, ment in Latin means mind, an adjustment to the mind. That's what we're doing. Pretty cool stuff, huh? So taking this time, as I said, to honor our ancestors, I want to thank my grandpa. He's not on Facebook. Thank my grandpa for trusting his gut and saying, you know what? I love Germany and I love my family, but right now it's not looking pretty. And so I'm going to leave and hop across this ocean and come on over to America and start a family. Now, I know many of us would also say our ancestors screwed up a lot of stuff. And you know what? We're just a bunch of children on the inside, wounded children walking around the world trying to figure it out. And I would agree that some of our ancestors probably didn't do the best things for humanity or morality, but listen, they had their own stuff they had to clear. And so people will say trauma passes through generations. What else passes through generations? Healing. And the more that you attune to yourself and you work on those patterns and you release them, the more that you can show up for others and in turn pass on that healing patterning through your lineage. And I don't know if I'm going to have kids, but this type of conversation does inspire me to have kids. And I hope it inspires you too, to merge with the pain. Use pain as fuel for something greater for you on the other side. Honor our ancestors and know that when it comes to guilt, it's not your job to harbor the pain of other people, but rather create the space for people to have their own experience and release and integrate in their own time. It's not your job to fix people. It's not your job to save people. That is exhausting. It is our job, I believe, to do our own work, and then as we do our own work, go out into the world and create spaces for other people to discover that for themselves. Because when you can own it, and when you can find and tap into those strategies within your own nervous system and body mind, my friends, you're so much more resourceful, and it feels so much more empowering, right? When I did this morning, based on the teachers and mentors that I have and the providers that are more of my mentors and facilitators of my own power, when I did that, I was like, yeah, my body's amazing. No one fixed me. I didn't take a pain pill. I didn't take an Advil. I worked on this myself. And in turn, it's my responsibility then as a servant leader to share with you. Because if I just harbored that for myself, well, is that being a good ancestor? Is that being a good leader? No. So I wanted to take time out of my day to come on here and share with you. Because listen, we're human. Guilt, emotions, pain, shame, it's part of the human experience. If you're just tuning in now, I really invite you to go back to the beginning of this and listen. I'm going to be posting this on YouTube as well. But this is important stuff because right now, more than ever, we have to learn how to be in the face of pain and be in the face of adversity. I'll leave you with this one other thought before I go. Another one of my mentors this weekend said, when we don't allow ourselves to learn how to be with challenges, to learn how to be in the conversation of adversity, and to learn how to be in that, we are essentially teaching people only to act when they feel good. And yes, I believe in self-care. Yes, I believe in feeling good. But if we only act and take action for humanity when it feels good and when I have my latte and I've done all this stuff and like, okay, now I'm ready to take action, but it's already 5:00, we become more disconnected. And I think you've heard me say this, and I'm guilty of this too. Well, not guilty. I love you, Hannah. Yay, I love you too. I'm guilty of this. I preach self-care a lot, but I preach self-care, and I'm going to change this lexicon now because I believe when I learn something new, I shift how I operate because I'm like, oh, that's way more in alignment. But we as a culture have used self-care as a way to check out and not check back in with society. So how do we turn self-care into world care, into we care? How do we take care of ourselves and in turn show up for other people because they need your gifts that you have to offer? Whether you're a doctor, a therapist, whether you're a dad, a mom, a brother, a sister, you are someone. Hey, Sam. You are someone to someone else. So we have used self-care as a means to check out and disconnect and contract. And I'm not saying you can't have those days where you're having a spa day and meditating, but we gotta check back in with society because society needs you right now. More than ever. Listen, I wanted to take a nap earlier, but I wanted to also come on here because this message, I want to penetrate it into your mind and you go out there and you tell the message too. We got to connect. So let's stop using self-care as an excuse and rather use it as a strategy to keep showing up. Okay? Yes, life's about feeling good, and it's important to also sometimes feel shitty and feel the human experience and feel pain. So you say, look, I'm human, I feel this pain, and I'm gonna fucking be with it. Excuse my language, but now I'm on one. So let's channel pain for progress. Let's honor what we love about our ancestors and the healing that they've passed on and the courage that they've passed on. And let's keep releasing our guilt and shame so we can show up as servant leaders for the world. And however that is, you don't have to be a doctor, but you have a leader inside of you. You have a hero inside of you. And it's not my job to fix you. It's my job to empower you, which is from the inside out. Empower. Paul, peace starts at home and then we can take it out. Yep. And it's really making sure that when you tune in with yourself, you say, what is my purpose on this planet? We're social beings. So I say, let's end the social distancing and begin the social connecting. It's so needed now more than ever. I love you all so much. If this has served you, again, I'm going to put this on YouTube. If this has served you, please share it. Invite them into our community. It's free. You know what we stand for. And I will continuously keep coming on here, even in the face of adversity, even in the face of challenge and pain. Know that I'm taking care of me so I can take care of you, and you can take care of the people that you care about in your world. I'm here for you. I love you. Peace, love, and keep inspiring.